Hey kids, what's going on? We're going to talk about a lot of different subjects and link them together because I'm bored and I have nothing else better to do with my life. No, actually, I'm not bored. I'm the exact opposite of bored. And make a disclaimer against every single video that I'm really busy, so I don't make a lot of stuff no more. But we've already talked about these things before, how there's a huge segment of the US population that is pro-fascist, pro-communist. The radical Democrats. There are millions of them. They are not a fringe minority. They are millions upon millions of them. And they want to enforce their way of life on us. They want us to become like Venezuela, like Russia, like whatever country, 1930s Italy. Now, most of them are so stupid that they don't realize that. They think what they're doing is good and virtuous. But there are a good chunk of them who know exactly what they're doing, and they are malicious, and they just don't care because that means they get more power. Their policies are going to hurt 99% of Americans. Only the 1% is going to benefit from this. So there are a lot of useful idiots. That's why there's a term, useful idiots. That they are cheering on programs and ideas that will objectively hurt them, and they're just too stupid to fucking realize it. They are hypocrites in every single way that you can think of, because the only principle they care about is power. Double standards be damned, we're way past double standards at this point. But take a look at the newest one, is that Biden's bombing Syria. Us libertarians and most other people already knew this was going to happen. Joe Biden has never met a war that he doesn't like. He has voted pro-war every single war that we've been in when he was a senator. He has never said no. He loves war. They love to kill people. They love to expand the American empire. But they act like, oh, we're all nice, we care about minorities, we care about poor people in other countries, blah, blah, blah. And then they just do things that objectively do not help them. But they don't care. It's more power for them. It's more power for the military-industrial complex. When Trump bombed Syria that one time, several years ago, I think it was 2017. If not, it was early 2018. And they flip shit that he is going to start World War III, that he wants to kill innocent people, that he's a warmonger, whatever. But when Biden does it, crickets. They're not even acknowledging it. I shared many anti-Biden, anti-war memes today and yesterday, and they're not even arguing with me at this point. They just ignore it. We've talked about this before too, that if they just ignore it, they act like it doesn't exist. And therefore they don't have to acknowledge their double standards. If you ignore the problem and act like it doesn't exist, then it's not a problem. Same thing with the kids in cages. Clinton kept kids in cages. Bush kept kids in cages. Obama built all the cages. He expanded it. I gone over this years ago. Whenever a parent commits a crime, the parent goes to jail. The kid doesn't go to jail with them. We have to separate the children from the parents. On top of the fact that we need to figure out if they actually are parents, because a good chunk of the time, I think it's more than half the time, the adults who claim that they are the parents are not. So we have to separate them while we figure this out. You can't house minors and unrelated adults in the same fucking facility. Are you fucking kidding me? When do we ever do that? When would that be okay in any other situation? Obama did it and they said nothing. Trump did it and he's a racist who hates Hispanics, and that's why he's doing this to these poor Hispanic kids. That's what they said. Now that Biden's doing the exact same thing, literally the exact same facilities, crickets, not even engagement, not even a rebuttal. They just ignore it because they don't see it. CNN's not going to show pictures of kids in cages. They did that whenever Trump was president, and the picture was actually from the Obama administration. Never issued a retraction, never issued an apology. Nope, just kept on. People, millions of Democrats will go to their graves believing that that picture was taken during the Trump administration. No amount of trying to convince them otherwise will help because they are too far brainwashed. They are too far down the rabbit hole. So back to the point, we have these millions of people in this country who all they want to do is hurt people that aren't like them, so non-Democrats, and gain power for their side. They want Democrats to have the presidency in both things of the House and the Supreme Court for that matter, and just enact every single radical Democrat policy you can think of, every single one without fail, even though it would objectively hurt them, unless they're part of the 1%. The average Democrat would get hurt by open borders, for example. They already are. Every liberal that is mugged, raped, or killed by illegal immigrant was objectively hurt by something they supported. If we didn't have open borders, if we actually enforced immigration, then those illegal immigrants wouldn't be there to commit the crimes in the first place. Let's take another one. Stimulus packages, for example. Stimulus packages objectively hurt the economy. It puts us more in debt, so more closer on defaulting on our debts and the economy crashing even more than it already is. There's that. There's number one reason why stimulus package is bad. Second of all is that it causes inflation. If you pump in all this artificial money, which we already pumped in trillions and trillions of dollars, on top of Biden's 1.9 trillion that he's trying to pass today, I think the stat was only put up, I can find it, 35% of all the money that was ever printed in this country's history was printed in 2020. That is how much artificial money is being pumped into the system. It's like the DuckTales episode where they magically make all this money and then suddenly money's worthless because you pump in all this money. It's not real money. It's not backed by anything. People didn't earn that. The government just prints it all and gives it to people. That devalues it and causes inflation, which makes it so your savings, like $1,000 in 1800 was a fuck ton of money. That was a crazy amount of money. When you hyperinflate it so much, now $1,000 is not that much. That's why you can buy a burger for 5 cents in the 70s. Now, McDonald's, not the dollar menu crap, but like a regular burger costs like $3, $4 or something. That's inflation. They are devaluing your savings. So all that money you saved up, they keep on pumping out all this money, it's going to be worth less. You have to save up even more to keep the same value as before. This objectively hurts everyone. Yet there's millions of Americans who are just crying out for more stimulus packages all the time. They want UBI, Universal Basic Income. They just want to just give all this money to them, not realizing that's going to hurt them in the long run. Property taxes is another thing. Millions of property taxes is something you already own, and you have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in property taxes. That hurts. That is a burden on people. It is a burden for people to enjoy life. Now, if that was the only tax, then no, it would be fine. No, there's only like 10,000 different taxes that they try to just take all your money. And there are millions of people, mostly on Democrat sides, who just cheer on all of these taxes because they want funding for all of these ridiculous, unconstitutional programs that they think will help them, but they won't. The way they want to put all of these programs on us, Democrats hate non-Democrats. They despise them. They want them to suffer. They want to gain as much power for themselves. They want to slant the rules so there is rules for Democrats and rules for everyone else. We've already seen this countless times with these double standards. They want to censor everything that you say on the internet or say even in person. They want real-life consequences for something you haven't say in person. That's why I don't say where I work. Anywhere. Because I ain't losing this job just because some stupid whiny Karen gets offended because I said something that's true, but it hurts her little feelings. Fuck that shit. Every single day I see a double standard. And that's why I'm linking all of these topics together, because each of them shows a double standard. And when you have all these double standards together, it creates a two-tiered system where Democrats enjoy all these things, get all these sets of rules, these sets of terms, and everyone else gets crap. It's like they're at war with us. They hate us so much that they hate their fellow Americans so much when all we want to do is just literally to be left alone. Take a little bit of our money in taxes for the military, the courts, the post office, police, whatever. That's fine. But we'll keep the vast majority of us. And then basically you just leave us alone. You arrest people whenever they break the law. You protect my rights. You protect my property. And I'll just leave you alone. That's all we want to do. But they want to dismantle every single thing that we hold dear. Money, property, families, freedoms, rights, privileges, everything. They want to take away everything from us. Which is why, if we keep going down the way we are, which we are showing no possibility of going in any other direction, the U.S. is going to end up in one of two ways. A dystopian nightmare, like Venezuela. What's another example? Mexico. We can choose Mexico. Any one of those, any of the failed states in Africa, for crying out loud. Like, if people don't stand up to this crap and it keeps on going, getting worse and worse and worse, and eventually we're just going to keep going down the rabbit hole and end up, like 1%, pick any African country. There's an oligarchy, the 1% that controls everything and has all these luxuries, and there's everyone else who's dirt poor and has no rights. That's what it's going to be like. It already is like that to an extent, but it's going to get even worse. That's if people don't stand up to this crap. Or the second option, they stand up to this crap, and then we have 1776 Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. Because, like I said before, they have made every single way of resolving this peacefully impossible. We've tried doing it peacefully. I've been peaceful this entire time. All I do is speak out and vote for people who don't do this crap. But look where it's gotten us. It's gotten us nowhere. They don't care. You can hold whatever peaceful protests you want. You can say whatever you want on the internet or in person, and they'll just try to censor you. You can run for office. You can support politicians, whatever, and they just don't care. They have the numbers. They outvote us every single time. They'll get big tech on their side to drown us out, so our voices will be drowned out every single time. They have the numbers. They have the money. They're the system, and we're the resistance, and we have nothing. What do you do when you put millions of people up against the wall and have them no choice in any of their affairs? They have no control over their life whatsoever with anything. Everything's just too expensive because they're being taxed too much and their money is being inflated, and all of the rights that they had are now gone. It's like you have to live like in communist Russia as a good little worker bee. You get to do these things when the government allows you to do that, if ever. Some things you just never be able to do. So all of these, in conclusion, all of these subjects can be linked back to the same insufferable communist people who support them all. That's the source of the problem. If the Democrats in Congress and, Joe Biden didn't get voted into office to have the power, then they wouldn't be able to do any of this shit. Who put them there? The voters. They're the problem. We have a huge problem in this country. We have millions of un-American Americans making this place less American. That's just 4 topics I chose, but you can go down any of the issues: gun rights, censorship, any tax, COVID lockdowns, mask mandate. You can choose every single one. It all goes back to the same root problem. These pro-big government, pro-communist, quote-unquote Americans, which they're not, and how they're just ruining everything they can get their grubby little hands on. And like I said before, it's going to be one of the 2 outcomes. We're going to live in dystopian Venezuela or Civil War Part 2. Prove me wrong. I've studied history. I've studied countries that go down this route when it comes to polarization of populations, and it always ends in 1 or 2 ways. There is no third option. Either there is no fight, and the system wins, and we're like in V for Vendetta, or they fight, and then we're in The Patriot. That's it. There's no third option. There's no compromise. There's no third way. So I'm just preparing for either, to be honest. Got my garden all set up. I'm going to grow a lot of plants, try to be... I'm not being able to grow enough to be, totally independent of grocery stores and stuff. But I want to be as independent as possible. If not only just to save money, but to learn new skills. I mean, being a gardener in a Civil War apocalypse is very fucking useful. But just to try to lessen my dependence on this broken system. Learn new trades. I mean, that was a video I did back, how to prepare for the Biden administration. That was back, I think I made that in January, once it was certain that he was going to be president. All of these skills you can learn, all these things you can do to try to prepare for the government being a total fucking dick to you. Learning new skills around the house so you don't have to pay someone to do it. You save money because you need to save as much money as possible because your money's being inflated. It's worthless, so you have to save up more. Stuff like that. That's all you can do. You can vote, not people that work for the system. Heck, if I had more time, I was thinking about, I know I won't do this because I don't have enough time as it is, but if you have time, run for office. There are all of these local elections that Democrats run uncontested, that if you have the time, you should. I thought about it. Maybe later in life, I'll have more time. That's funny. I had thought about it. A local election, it's not like I'm running for president. I'm running a local election. It's not going to take up a lot of my time, but just for a short period of time. I don't know, maybe something in the future. Right now, I can't do that. So I support candidates that are pro-liberty, since I can't run myself. And then I speak out against it, like in these videos. And that's all you can do. You can prepare and you can speak out, and you only get one vote. Vote for people who are pro-liberty and anti-communist. Try to convince people to do the same. That's all you can do.